Architecture is one of the oldest disciplines humans practice. Whenever something significant gets built, a bridge, a cathedral, a city, one person is responsible for its structure, not the labor. The structure, the architect. What does an architect do? They design what something will be and how it will hold up over time before anyone breaks ground. They produce blueprints, they make the structural decisions, they live with the consequences for years, sometimes centuries. Software is no different. We build with code, data, and integrations instead of stone and steel, but the discipline is the same. Before any building can happen, someone has to design the structure. That's the software architect. In Salesforce, that work has a specific shape. 7 domains every architect masters, 2 career paths to choose between, 1 framework that ties them together. In this video, the complete map. Let's go! On Salesforce, every architect walks one of 2 paths, and some eventually walk both. The application architect path, it covers 4 areas. Decorative architecture, how the platform's no-code tools come together. Flows, formulas, platform development, how custom logic with Apex and user interfaces with Lightning Web Components. Data architecture, how the business is modeled into objects, fields, and relationships, and sharing and visibility, who sees what and why. The application architect works, live in the org. The system architect path, it also covers 4 areas. Platform development, shared with the application path because code on the platform serves both sides. Integration architecture, how Salesforce connects to other systems through APIs, events, and middleware. Identity and access management, how users authenticate and what they're allowed to do. And development, lifecycle, and deployment, how the solution is built, tested, released, and evolved over time. The system architect works lives between. Many architects build entire career specializing in just one area. A data architect, a sharing and visibility architect, an integration architect. That's a valid, valuable, well-paid career. Others go broader, eventually mastering both paths because they want to reach the highest credential in the Salesforce world, the CTA. We'll get to that at the end. How do you know if you have architected each area well? That's where Salesforce official architecture framework comes in. It is called Well Architected, published on the Salesforce Architect website. 3 pillars, 3 compass points for every architectural decision. Trusted, does your solution protect the business and its stakeholders? Secure, compliant, reliable. Easy, does it deliver value fast, intentional, automated, engaging? Adaptable, does it evolve with the business? Resilient, impossible? Here's how this actually works. Imagine you are designing a data model for a growing business. You have a choice. Model the data with strict relationships and constraints or flexible, loosely connected structures. Which is better? It depends on the 3 pillars. Trusted asks, which option keeps the data more reliable and compliant over time? Strict wins. Easy asks, which one is faster to maintain and adapt as requirements shift? Flexible wins. Adaptable asks, which one survives a business pivot into 2 years? It depends. You don't need 50 rules to make the call. You need a compass. that's well architected. And this is the lens this channel uses for every architectural area we cover. Frameworks and concepts get you thinking, but architects are judged by what they deliver, and what they deliver, what separates an architect from anyone else on the project, is artifacts. There is a line I love from Dipankar Jyoti in this book Salesforce Architect Handbook. He says, if you think Salesforce architects are expensive, try running on a project without one. That captures the whole game. Architects produce the documents that keep everyone aligned, that get signed off by stakeholders, that get handed to engineering teams. Without those documents, projects drift, codes explode, and solutions break. According to Dipankar's book, every serious Salesforce solution needs three core artifacts. Number 1, the FUSIAOLA analysis. This is the requirements analysis artifact. It captures everything you need to know about the business before you design a single object or workflow. Number 2, the system landscape. This is the blueprint showing how Salesforce fits within the broader enterprise. Think of it as a high-level map. Salesforce at the center, the ERP system on one side, the data warehouse on another, the identity provider sitting on the top with arrows showing the integration flows between them. A single diagram answers the question, where does Salesforce live? Number 3, the data model. This is how the business gets represented inside Salesforce. Objects, fields, relationships. Visually, it is an entity relationship diagram. Boxes representing standard and custom objects. Lines showing how they connect. Cardinalities labeled. Key fields called out. The data model is the foundation everything else in the solution depends on. 4 optional ones come into play, produced when the project's complexity calls for them. Role hierarchy and sharing diagram, produced when visibility gets complex. Picture a vertical 3, CEO at the top, regional VPs below. A single look tells you who can see whose data. Essential when multiple regions, divisions, or partner portals are in play. Sales managers under them, individual reps of the lifts with sharing rules and group memberships annotated on the side. Environment and release management diagram, produced when you are managing multiple sandboxes. Imagine an horizontal flow, developer sandboxes, integration sandbox, UAT, staging, production, with arrows showing how code and integration, configuration, move, and labels for each environment's purpose. Essential for any project with formal release, cadences, or multiple Scrum teams. Source code branching diagram, produced when developers need a defined Git strategy. Think of a horizontal timeline with parallel lines, a main branch, a develop branch, feature branches, split it off, and merging back release branches tagged for deployment, outfix branches for emergencies. Without this, larger teams collide. System authorization flow diagram, produced when authentication gets complex. Visually, it is a sequence diagram, user on the left, identity provider in the middle, Salesforce on the right, with numbered arrows showing each step on the SIML or the OAuth exchange. This diagram tells you actually or exactly how a user proves who they are step by step. These 4 aren't required on every project, but knowing they exist and knowing when to produce them is part of what separates a junior architect from a senior one. Other artifacts come into play depending on the project, but those three core artifacts non-negotiable. Every solution, every time. Let's zoom in FUSIAOLA. It is an analysis framework developed by Dipankar Jyoti, pronounced FUSIAOLA, and it stands for 8 things you analyze on every project. F. Features, the functional capabilities the system must deliver. U. Users, who's interacting with the solutions and how. S. Systems, what other systems exist in the company's ecosystem. I. Integrations, how those systems connect to Salesforce. A. Authentication, how users and systems prove who they are. O. Objects, the data structures that need to be created. L. Licenses, the right mix of Salesforce licenses for each user type. A. Assumptions, the architectural assumptions you're making, explicitly captured so they can be challenged. That's a complete framework for understanding any Salesforce project, and on this channel, every architectural area we cover, we will build the artifact that go with it. You won't just see concepts explained, you will see deliverables. Now, those artifacts I just described, FUSIAOLA, system landscape, data model, they take hours to produce properly, sometimes days. In a real project, they get iterated dozens of times. AI doesn't replace architects. It can't make trade-off decisions. It can sit in a review board and defend its choices under cross-examination. The judgment, the experience, the human accountability, that's still yours. That's not going anywhere. We are not in 2023 anymore. The AI tools available in 2026 are not chatbots that answer questions. We are in the agentic era. AI that can take a business requirement, draft a FUSIAOLA analysis, propose an initial data model, evaluate it against the well-architected Claude as part of my architecture workflow, not as a replacement for thinking, but as an accelerator for everything that comes after the thinking, drafting artifacts, spotting weaknesses in a design, generating diagrams. There is a dedicated Claude for Salesforce Architect mini-series coming where I will cover sub-agents, multi-agents, workflows, and the prompting patterns that actually work for architectural tasks. The architect of 2026 isn't replaced by AI. The architect of 2026 uses AI as a force multiplier. That's how this channel works. Meet Mark Services, an industrial multi-services company with 2 lines of business: metallurgy and inspections, including non-destructive testing, welding quality control and anti-corrosion treatment, and civil engineering, construction, project management. And here's the part most channels would never do. We don't just architect Mark Services at one size. We will architect it across 3 stages of growth, and we'll watch the company evolve across the entire arc of this channel. Stage 1, an SME around 40 employees, single site, foundational Salesforce setup. This is where we lay the data model, right setup, basic sharing, and avoid the mistakes that compound at scale. Stage 2, mid-market around 200 employees, multi-region operations, subcontractor portal, ERP integration, field service deployment. This is where real architectural rigor becomes non-negotiable. Stage 3, enterprise, over 1,000 employees, multi-country, multi-cloud, AI-enabled, governed at scale. This is where we eventually face the CTA review board, but more on that in a moment. You will watch microservices grow. You will see how every architectural decision we make at stage 1 shapes what's possible at stage 3. That's how real architects think. At the top of the Salesforce certification pyramid sits the Certified Technical Architect, CTA, earned by those completing both of the Application Architect and the System Architect paths, then passing a multi-hour review board with 3 CTA judges. You get just over 3 hours to design a complete enterprise architecture from an hypothetical scenario, then 45 minutes to present it, then 40 minutes to defend every decision under cross-examination. Those specific comes from Tameem Bahri's book, Becoming a Salesforce Certified Technical Architect. The second of the 2 books I'd recommend to any serious CTA aspirant. The first was Dipankar Jyoti's Architect's Handbook, which we referenced earlier. The artifacts you produce in that exam, the data model, the system landscape, the role hierarchy, they are the same artifact we just walked through. The CTA review board doesn't test something exotic, it tests under extreme pressure, the same architecture work real architects do every day. It just compresses years of practice into a few hours. Let me be honest about this. CTA is hard, not just intellectually, financially, time-wise, and emotionally. Preparation runs into hundreds of hours, over months or years. Pass rates are notoriously low. There are only a few hundred CTAs in the entire world. This is not a credential you stumble into. And remember what I've said earlier, you don't have to go for it. Specializing as a data architect, an integration architect, a sharing architect, those are great careers. Some of the best architects I know never pursued the umbrella credentials. The choice is yours, both paths are honored. But for those who want to attempt it, I'm building something for you. When microservices reaches status 3 at the end of this channel's arc, we will run a full CTA capstone series, a real review board scenario, 3 hours design block, 45 minutes presentation, 45-minute Q&A, whiteboarding, the solution in real time, walking through the trade-offs, defending the design choices the way you would defend them on a review day. That's the destination, not becoming a CTA in 30 days, a multi-years journey with real artifact, real decisions, and real preparation. So that's the map, the 2 paths, the framework, the artifact, the scenario, the destination. This entire video was the orientation. The next video are where the real work begins. We start with data architecture, the foundation of every Salesforce solution and the most underrated domain on the platform. First episode drops soon, and the 4th playlist will build the data model for microservices at stage 1, end-to-end, with artifacts, with Claude as the accelerator, with every decision justified against well-architected. If you want to follow the journey, subscribe and hit the bell. New episodes will land regularly. And one thing I'd really appreciate, drop a comment below telling me which of the architectural areas you're working on right now. Data, sharing, integration, identity, or DevOps. Real cases get featured in future videos. See you in the next one!